Hey, it's me, Seer. You know, the guy with too much time on my hands, too many questions in my mind, and too much log in my pants? Now, I like a large variety of things. I'm a game man predominantly, but a good film, now that's nice, that's great. Get the popcorn, get the chair, get the binoculars, wait for the neighbor to start watching it, perfect. But at some point, someone asked, what if we fuse the concepts of games and movies together? And we probably should have shot this person. The birth of the movie tie-in genre of games is more easily described as dog shit that no human alive actually likes or wants to play, but for some godforsaken reason, they still sell pretty well 40 years after being conceived. And actually, as a side note, have you noticed no one talks about the book-based video game? Probably helps that no one actually reads books, so no one has ever made a game based on them. Fuck off, that's the only one I know of. Oh, and maybe this one as well, I guess. Oh wait, don't tell me there's a Mob Dick game out there. I'll buy that right now. Watch me. That's it, I found it. I actually did find it. I bought it. But I am the realest gamer in the room right now, as I am alone, and I'm not satisfied without experiencing the whole garbage bin of games out there, so we're in for a full haul today. Every single Back to the Futter game that is intended to be based on the films. Let me get that clear right now. Fucking not playing any Telltale shit today. As always, though, I need a special spin on the concept of game reviewership. A lot of people have done this thing, you know. I want to be original, otherwise we end up in the spectrum of either, hi guys, Seer here with a really good game today, one of my favorites, to what a piece of fucking cocksucking, ball-blowing, cock-a-doodie, butt-brain, nonsensical ass shit. I'm going to shred my ball sack. That's how bad this game is. I'm going to take a fucking rake and shove it up this game's ass. That'll do it. And that is the ad revenue gone. Everyone usually goes for the obvious questions, like which games are good or bad, or what product is the most similar to the movie, or who are you and why are you talking to me? But I want to ask a different question. Which of these are the least accurate retelling of the films? Which one did they seem like they literally had no idea what they were even trying to do? I'm talking the movie poster wasn't even in the building, no getting the spiel from Spielberg, no shooting the breeze with Scorsese, and lack of the no from Tarantino, not getting the cock from Hitchcock. I'm talking as close to fan fiction as we can get. So this is obviously an iconic blockbuster, and Marty McFuck is one of the all-time great fictional characters. He can time travel, he has a girlfriend, stuff no one can identify with. I have labored with the idea on how to make this video, because I've got 8 games today, you know, no one has played all of these. It's like the Exodia of the asshole realm. I've assembled the pieces, and now I'm going to obliterate your entire being. I just gotta figure out how I want to do that. I'll present these games in chronological release order, but the next video in the series covering some shit like the Die Hard games or Toy Story, you just never know what I'll do. I might change it up, but I really just want to start this one talking about obscure Japanese games no one has ever seen. So here we are, Back to the Future, one of the all-time great blockbusters celebrated by audiences as one of the best films of the 1980s. A story where Marty runs around town and stomps on police officers while opening windows looking for 2 people to bring to the dance. What do you mean it's not the fucking film? I've seen the movie. That's what he does. He kills the police the whole time. That's all he does. So yeah, Back to the Future on the MSX, our first game, the first real attempt released in 1985. You know, it's named Back to the Future, so that's a good start. It has approximately 4% similarity with the film, most of the similarity being in the title itself, to be honest. Also, side note, the game is complete garbaggio beans, because by 1985 there were better side-scrollers. Hell, Pitfall squats all over this one, but that's not what we're really caring about today. We're not curious how bad the game is. We're curious at how much the film is being represented, and really, there's probably nothing. Literally, I'm not sure they even saw the movie. Marty doesn't even look like himself. I get that you can only do so much with one color, but he looks like he's from I Wanna Be the Guy. His parents, who also do not look like they should, did not ever sit in their front rooms and wait for someone to jump through the window to abduct them. The movie was all about the fact that he jeopardized his own existence, and he had to creatively maneuver his parents to meet, and not the fact that he was some fucking gremlin going around getting attacked by birds. It's actually fairly deranged they came up with this, in my opinion. And I won't even really go on about the seeming police officers that Marty Base McFly stomps on all day as he runs around and they try to rightly stop him from opening windows to houses he doesn't live in. Besides the ambiguous concept of a dance, it's funny that there doesn't seem to be anything from the plot represented here. Major characters like Doc Brown and Biff don't exist, and honestly, it's like the developers were given a poster for the film and told to make something based on it. Also, they were probably not able to speak English, as the MSX was predominantly a Japanese computer. The one undeniable thing that's represented from the movie is the music. The Power of Love is playing at 50 times the speed it should, and it never stops. That's great. I'll give this game 1 Doc's ass out of 10 for being related to the film. It could literally be called anything you could think of, and no one would have any expectation about its content, except if you maybe called it Back to the Future. Now we're going to another computer, the Commodore 64, with this game aptly titled what it should be. You know, nice try, that's all I can say. This game actually has some sincere references to the film. Firstly, people look a lot better here. I mean, Doc Brown living up to his name, he looks like a huge dump walking around, but besides that, it's alright. Although the music is being sharded out the entire time, and I'm not able to discern if it's from the movie, I'm fairly positive it's not, so that's one thing the MSX got over this one. Essentially, the plot of the game is that you've got to get your parents to merely exist in the same room as each other for long enough. I'm not sure this is how romance works, but regardless, this means we have to wander around the incredibly small game world and pick up indecipherable shit and use them on people. There's the film's antagonist of Biff in this game, so that's nice, but he has no face and wishes to have a face. The reason I know this is Biff is because he's the only guy punching people, so that's some inference for you, you know? Big skill using the brain. The game ends if your photo in the bottom right completely fades away, and you win if you can completely fill it up. I could not be bothered personally doing that. I really do like the suggestion that Marty is carrying a picture of himself, which he uses to gauge if he's dying, because seriously, who the fuck carries a photo of only themselves? There's a lot of time spent just being punched by Brown Biff, and to be honest, the most fun part of the game is picturing the movie where instead of having dialogue of any kind, the entire film cast just meanders around for 2 hours, not interacting at all. Plus, there's the dock building. I get what they're talking about. I see what they went for, but really, okay, the fucking dock building. That's what I call a house, guys. Plus, he lives 2 doors down from sandwiches. That's the best business name ever conceived. There's no ambiguity there. What do you sell? Sandwiches. Might as well have a place called Food, and then for fun, Food is a shoe shop. This is a depressing game in most ways, not helped by the fact that there's no life to anyone and that they're the only people in the game world. Oh, the game. Yeah, I figured we'd spent all the time we could spend on that already. It's a decent adaptation, also given that the developer said they only spent 2 months on the game and they wanted to do a better job at replicating the movie. I'll give them a pass with a 5 out of 10 for their efforts. The most trashy recreation of a moment from the film is the ending where instead of anything being interesting, Marty just jumps into the car and drives fast down the road and vanishes. No lightning, no clock, just gone. And the quote, "Never seen that before." Like, yeah, me neither. I didn't see fucking anything. But we'll move on anyway to another Japanese adaptation. All right, whatever. This one is actually pretty comical because first, it's entirely in Japanese. There was not a singular translation for it, so here I am emulating a computer that barely has any files online for it, playing a game in a language that I can barely understand, just so you can get a little footage going on. Also, this one is practically one-to-one with the movie, beyond, you know, the various Marty-kun, Beef-san, Dokudono. I'm not saying it's perfect or it's got every single detail from the movie right, but the dialogue is pretty spot on, and it gives you a randomly huge amount of things to play with. You can look at tons of random objects, like clocks or TVs, and to be honest, this game might have more to do with the film than the film does with itself. There's a lot of background details given life, and even with the horrendously crunched graphics, you get to actually look at stills from the movie. The objective is a bit linear. If you've seen the film, there's nothing you can't solve here. There's a lot of dead ends with your selections, but I feel like they gave the player way too much to try. Such as the right command, because I think the right command is only used once near the end of the game. It's like Shadowgate, another good game. Have you heard of it? You better have. If not, bomb you, I will soon. On my way to House Now and Nears. Anyway, I guess adventure games that weren't text-oriented like to give the player just way too many things to interact with. Because if you weren't familiar with Back to the Future, you'd have the most tedious time figuring out these puzzles. If you could even call them that, it's just like a movie trivia inputter. It's a strange idea. So this one gets a 10 out of 10, which definitely means it's not the game we're looking for. It's almost overwhelmingly based on the movie. Currently, the other MSX one is still leading the pack in terms of having bump-kiss relation to the source material. And then we're finally onto a console, and it's the infamous LJN game itself, Back to the Future NES 1989, 4 years after the movie came out. Might have been a tad late to the party, guys. The Japanese made 2 full games for no reason before we got this one. And there's not much I have to say. Most people have seen this game be reviled for being a huge pile, but I guess we're looking for plot details, so let's try to run it down quickly. Hill Valley is apparently a huge square now, with every location being placed next to each other. Convenient, since Marty has to exclusively run to each part of town. There's a lot of internal references, like clocks, because time is a component of the movie. Ah, yeah. I mean, this is straight from the film.
Marty, you've got to eat the fucking clocks, Marty.
A bland and randomly overly difficult experience. This one makes you feel like you're stuck not in the past, but inside Assholeville, as you ineffectually run past bees and aggressive citizens, which, by the way, there are no bees in the movie, and most of the residents of Hill Valley are nice, so I don't agree with the copious women and men throwing blue energy balls. There are several theoretical moments from the movie, like Marty does go to a diner, but he doesn't fucking kill 50 people with milkshakes. The most realized scene is the dance where you have to play music to your parents, which is just Johnny B. Good at 600,000 beats per minute. Additionally, if you fail the final level where you actually drive the DeLorean into the lightning bolt, the game just ends. Fuck if you have all your lives still, which, to be honest, if they intentionally did that, that's genius. There was only one moment where the lightning bolt was predictable. If he missed it, he was screwed, stuck in the past. Doesn't matter how many lives he had left. Also, the film's music is represented fairly Johnny B. Goodly here. If your bar declares the music is in the game, because it all sounds terrible, but it's all the songs from the film. It's actually so fast, I didn't even notice that this song is Power of Love because it's missing 80% of the song. Johnny B. Good is more obvious, but holy shit, Marty, slow the fuck down. You're gonna deny your own birth playing this bad. Overall, 4 out of 10. I'm sure the one dev they had chained to the radiator did see the movie. Now, Back to the Future 2 and 3 for the NES. How much mark did they hit? They did not hit much mark. This is a nostalgic game for me. As a kid, we owned this, and I thought for the longest time it was a heavily slept-on classic, but I am a fucking idiot. It really is not. It's both ass cheeks at once, one for each film. The opening initially has one line of text to make you think the plot's going to be one-to-one with the film, but then they introduced the concept that Biff wanted to protect the almanac, so he scattered random shit all over the world in time, but I don't understand what this fucking means or why the direction of the plot went this way. Firstly, why would that change anything? Shit, he put a roulette wheel in a gutter in the wrong time period. That's things are getting crazy, and then Biff is intimately aware of also how time travel works, despite being a dumbass and also a guy who just learned that time travel is possible. It's like they just started making fan fiction here, and I really don't get why. There was a lot of material they could have adapted. I feel like after that, they just didn't want to adapt the plot of either Back to the Future 2 or 3 to a game, so they said, forget it, it's a collectathon, and you know what? It's possibly the worst game ever made. You have to open doors in different time periods. Oh shit, Marty opens doors in the movie. Inside, the doors are mini games that give you items. The doors are first locked, though, requiring keys to open. You get keys by killing Goombas, okay? After you get the key, you get one attempt to grab the trophy, and these are not easy. You'll probably have to lose them at least once because they're action puzzles, and when you fail, doors locked again. Fuck me. After you collect the trophy, you get an item, and the game doesn't tell you what it's called because the concept is you have to find an area to deposit this item to solve a word scramble to turn it in. This is quite inaccurate. In the movie, Marty walks around and does interesting things, unlike here, where he's putting a milkshake from 1955 into a gutter in 2015. That'll fix time. The backgrounds are related to what should be going on. I just don't know why Marty has to kill random creatures. This isn't 3055, guys. Why are there aliens here? Actually, maybe they just got some really weird information, because I guess you could infer the plot of the movie involves some kind of apocalypse if you just heard time fucked, time must be fixed, stuff bad. After like 600 hours of playing, once you beat part 2, part 3 is the exact same game, but at least it's far shorter. It's just as obscure, but someone at least saw the costume design on Marty, so I'll give these games 2 out of 10 because it's obvious they knew of the films. It just, they felt like making a really awful Mario game instead of adapting them. Now, Bunk to the Dunker 2 for the Sega Munker Stunker. Now, this one actually is like the first AI game ever made. There's a lot of the film here, like a ton of it, but it's all just pissed into existence in nonsensical dumbass ways. The first level, also known as the hardest level in gaming history, sees you as Marty riding around on your hoverboard while every single person, regardless of who they are, is trying to fucking kill you. You've got Biff Head and his thug heads, they're coming, but so are random cars, random women, 700-year-old Biff who kills you in one hit, manholes, toys, and like, what are you supposed to do? Not much, just collect stuff from the movie. And at first I was like, damn, this is really good, very faithful. There's the hat Marty wears, and that's a question block, you know, like the film. The sports almanac, now that's just in the road, that's how it happened. It's not like it's the most pivotal part of the movie or anything, no. Also, the curbs kill you on this level. I guess you can't hover over them or some shit, but I tell you what, Doc didn't get out of the car and say, look the fuck out for the curbs, they'll get you in 2015. Speaking of Doc, he talks to you a lot, and when going to the second level, he informs us that we have to go to our future house to save the day. And hey, it's from the movie, but its shit is all dick, and it looks like some sort of demented Metal Gear stage. Oh hey, and don't forget the slider puzzle. The best part of Back to the Future 2 is where Marty solves a puzzle about what he did in the last movie because he's an idiot.
Oh, Herba, that's right, I play the guitar.
Also, I hate slider puzzles, so this one made me mad. The game has no distinct style, it has no grace, but it does have a funny face, except the first and last levels are the same thing essentially. Despite the ball-breaking difficulty, the movies are very well represented, so this one gets a 9 out of 10, and therefore fails my criteria for what I'm looking for. Speaking of Sega, who does assist what Nintendo doesn't assist, they made Back to the Future 3 for the Genesis, and besides the game being so fucking annoying, requiring the player to just memorize exact keystrokes to win, and maybe it's a commentary on how delicate time travel is, that you have to know exactly what you're doing, successfully navigate around all the pre-planned known obstacles, have foresight to win the game, or maybe the game is just so absolutely bullshit because the game is so short they needed the game to not end in 30 seconds. And you know what? Horseback level, gun shooting level, shootout level, and train level, all from the movie, that's great, why not? But these are fairly low impact scenes, comprising maybe 20 minutes of the actual film. I'll be fair, the final level where you have to speed up the train, that one is important, but where Marty shoots ducks is like 20 seconds for a joke. But I guess you have an Old West game, include all the guns you can. Why am I criticizing? I suck at everything. Filmmaking, I don't. Game credit, I won't. But great video where I talk shitty-o, I have made. Anyway, sorry, I keep losing the plot, not judging the game on its merits, only its faithfulness. And I'd say this one is a 7 out of 10. It's got a lot of references in the level design, the backgrounds, the foregrounds, even the final quote is from the movie. It's all good. Yeah, well done. And finally, we have, wait, another fucking Japanese-only game? What was the fascination? Why did this happen so much? Whatever. Anyway, this one is probably the most faithful to the second movie, being probably the best effort anyone ever made towards this franchise. There's an introduction straight from the movie and straight into the game where Marty is killing cops again. I'm calling Japan. I want to know what the deal with this is. Also, this time the cops are shooting at Marty, so never mind. Destroy their entire body with a backflip. Also, no, Marty never backflips once in any of the movies, so this is some more shit. 1 out of 10. Forget the rest of the game. As this is a side scroller, they decided to make it decent fun, despite it being a little random that you're going around being Mario, collecting coins and navigating weird environments. Also, it has a little liberty, like instead of what happens in the film, Marty has to kick the shit out of people, but the scenes themselves are true to the source, so I can't complain that much. Although sometimes they just went into weird directions, like the third level is Biff's Tower from 1985, and that's cool, it happens in the film, but Marty doesn't fight some gangster man with a huge gun, so I don't know where they got that idea. Understandably, they didn't make every single boss Biff, but they certainly tried. He's almost the only guy you fight. And then suddenly in level 4, they have this hardcore rock music, and you're running through a hellish graveyard. I didn't even know what I was looking at until I realized we're getting quite deep with what we should consider scenes and levels from the movie. Because this is where Marty sees his dead dad's gravestone, but that scene is 20 seconds long, so I'm surprised they figured that it had enough to go on and make it a stage. But hey, again, Dumb Video Man is not here to criticize these decisions, I'm just pointing them out. Okay, on second thought, where the fuck are we now? This is some, like, secret laboratory. I literally have no idea where this is. Oh, I'm sorry, apparently it's Biff's tower. See, there's Biff with a gun. It would have helped if there was any windows in this tower. You electrocute him to death here, which is not how that goes, but hey, why not? And then it's back to more familiar things like the red balloons with faces. Yeah. Yep. Also, I like how Biff is constantly shown to be a freak mutant in comparison to everyone else. It's not just Marty. He's like a giant man next to everyone. Also, I find it fascinating how this game has Marty kill everyone like he's some sadistic fuck. He was told, like, literally expressly not to do anything important in the past as to not alter the future, but now he's just murdering people, so I think Doc should really just shoot his head. Anyway, speedrun. The school level looks like a sewer, and then it's the meteor level, 0 out of 10, and then finally it's the last level of the game, which is faithful, and all in all, it's pretty much the best Back to the Future game in terms of gameplay, weighed against being faithful. Thank you, Japan, for your service to American film games. And I say this one deserves a 7 out of 10 for its references, cutscenes, staggers, and all that sort of thing. Which means if you haven't been listening to me, which I wouldn't blame you, the winner is the literal original game, Back to the Future, as opposed to Back to the Future, or Back to the Future, or Back to the fucking Future. The MSX game should be forgiven in my opinion because it's obscure, it's made in a language not parallel to the movie, and it is 39 years old, but nah, never mind. Sucks ass is my pick for the shittiest game of 2024 and will go down as the Back to the Future game that is the least related to the film. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this. I'm going to do it 1,000 more times. So next time, 19 Toy Story games, all of them. Call me Woody because I'm going to give the dick to some of this shit.